Those things don't change when transgender women suppress testosterone. They don't get shorter. They've still got big lungs.
We will defend the proud tradition of female athletes, and we will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women.
You're about to be a mom. How is that feeling? Pops. Oh, let me get it together.
Pops.
About to be a pops.
You want your son to call you Pops, and whenever his friends ask, what does your dad do for a living? He's supposed to say, oh, he plays in the WNBA.
Brittney Griner's medical records just hit the internet. And if they're legit, this is way deeper than anyone expected. What's inside? Hormone treatments, surgeries, the kind of stuff folks behind the scenes hoped would never leak. But now that it's out, it's a full-on storm. Griner's been a WNBA powerhouse for years, but
Swaggy, Brittney, let me see something real quick. Brick, thank you. Get the hell out of here, yo. Jab stepping, it's the brick. Swing and a miss. Yo, I ain't gonna.
After that viral courtside moment where she was caught calling Caitlin Clark a trash F-word white girl, everything started to fall apart fast. That clip didn't just spark drama, it blew open the vault on her past, from time in a Russian prison for men, to doctors now allegedly saying her biology doesn't match what the league's been promoting all this time. And the worst part? The WNBA's silence is screaming louder than ever. Now people are asking, was this a cover-up all along? Let's rewind real quick. After Brittney snapped from the bench and hurled that insult at Caitlin Clark on live TV, the internet exploded. But that wasn't the end. That moment triggered something bigger. Suddenly, alleged medical
I think there's probably one other job that you're about to get into that is really hard and really scary. You're about to be a mom. How is that feeling? Pops. Oh, let me get it together. About to be a pops. Please tell me how exciting that is for you and what you're looking forward to most.
I am super excited. Well, I mean, I guess I'll just drop it. He's here. So he's here, yes, 7/8/24.
Records started showing up online. And these weren't just memes or wild social media theories. This was official-looking documentation, names, lab data, doctor notes. And what did it allegedly show? Off-the-chart testosterone levels not found in typical female ranges. Notes on surgeries that didn't look athletic, but transitional. Even scans pointing to bone structures closer to male anatomy. People weren't just surprised, they were shook. And then it clicked for a lot of folks. Trainers had already been whispering about how Brittney heals crazy fast. We're talking about injuries that bench others for a month, but she's back in days like it's nothing. Fans are now rewatching that footage and asking, how was this missed? Because before, people just said, she's built different. But now, that phrase is taking on a whole new meaning.
States who are aggressively moving to prevent transgender athletes playing. And I was wondering, again, I'd hate to put one more thing on your plate, but in terms of on your radar, where is that? You're going to have a tremendous platform, but where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for, athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes, to be able to play?
Oh, I mean, that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. You know, everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe, and not feel like there's a threat or they can't be who they are, or like it's just all eyes on them. So I think it's a crime, honestly, to separate someone for any reason. So I definitely will be speaking up against that legislation and those laws that are trying to be passed, for sure.
Meaning, stack up the deeper voice, the crazy recovery speed, the way she moves on the court, and suddenly things start to look real different, especially when you compare her bounce back time to male athletes. Then the fans went wild with the research. No joke, people turned into full-blown investigators, digging into old games, breaking down slow-mo interviews, studying her footwork, jump height, even flipping through science articles just to make sense of it all. And the deeper they looked, the more they started connecting the dots. Because when you watch how Brittney plays, the verticals, the wingspan, the sheer power behind those slams, it stands out. It doesn't match the average WNBA play style, not even close. Now take a look at this highlight reel. This is the footage that had fans dropping their jaws and asking, hold up, what? People are now side-eyeing the league like, is this really the same WNBA where most players can't even tap the rim? The gap is hard to ignore. The difference is loud. And it ain't subtle. Not at all. She told a reporter she wanted to be called Pops, not Mom, not even parent, just straight up Pops. That's wild. Most women don't carry a baby and then turn around asking folks to treat them like the dad. And before anyone says this is getting twisted, here's the actual quote so you can see for yourself, word for word. After that, people stopped playing nice. The vibe shifted instantly. Some folks even stopped calling her Brittney. They're calling her Brittney Griner now, and not as some cheap joke either. To them, it's a legit name switch. So when fans say Brittney Griner dressed as a woman, they swear it's not about hate. It's about putting the pieces together. Pieces that the league clearly didn't want anyone messing with. But here's the part that's got people really fired up. And honestly, it's not hard to see why. Women's sports weren't created just for show. They were built so female athletes could compete on equal ground. A fair space, without having to go up against someone who moves, trains, and builds muscle like a biological man. So now the big question is this. If Brittney Griner has been dominating in the WNBA without ever dropping verifiable proof of her gender status, then what's really going on here? And how is that fair to the rest of the league? When someone steps on the court with alleged physical traits of a male athlete, more strength, more power, faster recovery, it stops being fair play and starts looking like someone stealing the spotlight. Now check this out. Leaders outside the WNBA are starting to speak up too. And whether or not you like who's talking, you can't ignore the facts being laid out. This isn't just online chatter anymore. Parents, coaches, athletes, they've been sounding the alarm for years. And now the volume's too loud to ignore. Because let's be real, if biological men are allowed to run the show in women's sports, what's even left to protect? What's the point of having women's leagues at all? Fans aren't sugarcoating anything anymore either. One straight up said, if it quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a freaking duck. Brittney Griner is not a woman. Another fan didn't hold back, saying, who is the WNBA trying to fool? They knew Brittney Griner was a man from the jump. Now, they're just scrambling to cover their tracks. And don't forget, Brittney's been loud about supporting the idea that trans athletes should be allowed in women's sports with no restrictions. No testing, no boundaries, just open gates. That's what really has folks scratching their heads like, wait, was this all part of the plan? She's made it her full-time mission to push that agenda. No restrictions, full access for trans athletes in women's sports. In one interview, she even said that making sure trans athletes get to play with zero limits is her top priority. Straight up, #1 on the list. So when people started raising eyebrows about her own biology, that clip hit way harder. This wasn't just some casual opinion anymore. It felt personal. She said it loud and clear. Her goal is to make sure trans athletes are fully welcomed into women's leagues. But now, folks are finally saying out loud what's been whispered for years. Of course, he'd be against any kind of ban, because if leagues ever actually ran serious checks like hormone testing, bone scans, or original birth certificates, then players like Brittney might not even qualify to be there in the first place. And let's not act like all this has been normal from the start. Remember, they literally swapped her for the merchant of death, not a shoplifter, not a hacker, but Victor Bout, an international arms dealer who sold missiles, weapons, and destruction to anyone with cash in hand. And what did Russia do after arresting her? Threw her in a men's prison. That wasn't a mistake. That was a calculated move. One person said it best. The Russians aren't stupid. If they believed she was biologically female, do you really think she'd be locked up with male inmates? Come on, use common sense. Now look at the footage from that prisoner swap. This wasn't just a quiet deal behind the scenes. This was symbolic. It made people stop and wonder, why did Russia treat her like a man if the world insists she's a woman? And here's where the double standard hits hard. Real women, born female, raised female, never took hormones, never got surgery, still get banned from competing. just for having naturally high testosterone. Olympic champs, record holders, gone. Caster Semenya, banned. Duty Chand, suspended. Christine Mboma from Namibia, blocked from her favorite events, all because her natural body didn't fit the WA rulebook. And none of them ever transitioned or pretended to be something else. So again, why does Brittney get a free pass? Why is she allowed to play unchecked while other women get treated like test subjects, poked, scanned, and sidelined? Because here's the truth. The WNBA isn't just running basketball games anymore. They're running a whole narrative. Their brand is built on pushing a message, woke, progressive, and proudly inclusive, no matter how unfair it might look on the court. And it wouldn't just stop with the players. Big-time sponsors who thought they were pouring millions into a women's league would be banging on the door demanding answers. Some might even want their money back. That kind of backlash? The WNBA isn't built to survive it. It would be chaos the league cannot afford. And the ripple effect wouldn't stop there. It'd hit the NBA hard too. Why? Because the NBA funds the WNBA. They manage it, promote it, and keep it running behind the scenes. Now hold up. Let me show you exactly how deep that connection goes. There's a clip where NBA champion Draymond Green flat out says it. The NBA isn't just giving support. They're carrying the WNBA financially and publicly. That's not just partnership. That's full-on lifeline status. Now here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. If Brittney's gender ever gets officially confirmed as male, it could trigger a massive domino effect across all major sports. From tennis to track to women's soccer, every league could be forced to start enforcing biological testing again. And in today's world, where politics and identity are already explosive topics, that kind of move would set everything on fire. The debates, the backlash, the headlines. It would be a nightmare for every league trying to walk that tightrope between fairness and inclusivity. So when people ask, why is the WNBA staying silent? Why are they pretending this isn't happening? This is why. The stakes are massive. And here's what no one dares to say out loud. If they let it happen once, who's to say it's not still happening? Who else are they quietly protecting? Because if Brittney Griner was really born male, and the league knew the whole time, then this isn't just some regular scandal. This is a full-blown cover-up.